Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Don't Panic. This continues the series that we have going on that I'm calling our summer shows. As you can see, our wonderful view. I hope you enjoyed all of my guests. I hope all of you enjoyed me flying you into this beach, with this really wonderful setting. Worked long and hard to find this just for you guys.
Thank you.
So I hope you appreciate it. Without further ado, I'm going to have all of my guests introduce themselves and what they do, starting right here.
My name is Kirsten Dunn, and I am a master optician at Salt Optical.
Ooh.
Yes.
My name is John McGuire, and I'm basically a retired corporate executive, but currently I'm assisting Israel Luna in his space studio operations.
My name is Angel Martinez, and I'm a bartender at JR's.
Nice.
I'm master bartender.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not really.
And you're also an actor.
Well, that too.
So modest. Yeah. And, so we have a few things that we're going to talk about this hour, but I want to start with things a little light, and then we'll get to some serious stuff later, and then we'll go light again, because I always like to end, I like my shows like my massages with happy endings. Did I say that out loud?
Didn't it just get delivered?
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to talk about is this really interesting situation that happened where a man who won, who had a $5 million winning lottery ticket was denied because, and it was an actual winning ticket, but he had his son go inside and purchase it, and his son's 16, and you're supposed to be 18 to purchase.
Y'all finna give me my money. Y'all finna give my money.
So what do you think should happen? They have been denying him, so he's threatening to sue. What do you think?
I mean, I think that. Oh, come on! It won. I mean.
Do they have a legitimate? Hey, no, we can't give it to you because it was. I mean,
does it say if the guy was handicapped and he was incapable of going in himself?
He just sent his kid in. Hey, get some lottery tickets, and the people which they were supposed to card, they did not.
So
it's on them.
So it's on them.
It's
right.
on them. They should have carded, because if they had carded, they wouldn't have sold the ticket. So I mean, I don't know. I would say.
Do they
draw media attention and battle it out in court so somebody settles? And
so
he gets
use
his
the
money.
media. Yeah, that's good. That's good. John, what were you gonna say?
Do they have proof showing the son buying the ticket, or how do they know that the son actually bought the ticket?
That's a really good question. I don't know, but now that it's already out, I'm sure the dad said, "Oh yes, he was my son. I sent him in," or he would have just said, "No, that
Well,
he didn't."
I do not think the father has any legal leg to stand on because of the fact, regardless of whether the store owner carded the son or not, the son was the one that initiated the illegal act.
Really? Now,
if he wants to waste whatever money he has on legal fees to fight it, good luck. But I would counsel him and tell him that he probably does not have any chance at all.
so he would not get the $5 million, you don't think,
No.
under the law? Because John was an attorney as well, so he's
No, I would think that it's pretty cut and dry from the standpoint of once you engage in an illegal operation, it negates anything else that's associated with that operation.
Wow.
But so like with TABC, right? For example, so if somebody were to come in and I sold them, a 16-year-old some alcohol, at that point I'm liable.
Both.
So, well, yeah, but I would be criminally liable.
Right.
So wouldn't that be the case with the store owner?
Hey, first of all, do we know what state this was in?
I
Because
don't.
certain
I
states
forgot to look it up. My apologies.
Yeah, certain states have different laws in effect for that. Your example is very good, but in your example, the laws are specific that a person serving alcohol is responsible for knowing who they're serving the alcohol to, and the person who is buying the alcohol also has to follow.
Right, and that's also
in the situation with the store owner who happens to, as an aside, sell lottery tickets. I'm not so sure there's that much power in the law that states that he has to card everyone.
Yeah, because with the TABC, it gets a little more complicated where if I am not TABC licensed, then the owner is liable, which is why if you're a bar owner, you're smart to have your employees.
And that's what we've
licensed.
sort of kind of had to deal with as well with people having events here, making sure that, you know, we tell them, because I'm sure they're not going to be licensed, and we say, you can have alcohol, but you can't sell alcohol here. So we have to be really careful with that too. Now, going with what you were saying, you know, you being a bartender, in New Orleans, that's not the case, right? So somebody can serve someone and they're not going to be liable at all, because they're saying if you are under 21 and I'm serving you, you should know better, so it's going to fall on you. Isn't that the law over there? I'm pretty sure.
I mean,
that's how
it is, but there's also a little bit to that here too. If John were to come up to me with a license identification that shows his picture, it's, you know, it could be his, I don't know, his brother, and they look exactly the same. His picture, I mean, there's like no question that it looks just like him. Then at that point, he's liable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you have grounds to show that you did your job, your job is to verify an age.
So maybe this would be a good example for the lottery, you know, people to maybe put classes out, or you know what I mean, something like that, because there is a lot of money involved.
Yeah, maybe our viewers can help us out on this, but I seem to think, remembering from stories I've heard, saw on TV, whatever, in the past, it's very similar. If you're 12 years old and you somehow get into a Las Vegas casino, throw a 50-cent piece in the machine and win $5 million, they don't have to pay you, because they have, and it's posted, or it should be posted, they have signs that state you.
So I know that we've probably all done this before, where you just get a relative, niece, nephew, cousin, son, daughter, whatever, to run inside and get some things for you. And so I guess they don't have to pay in this case. I mean, Kirsten, because you were the first one saying, oh, no, I would want my money. Would you still fight it?
I would still fight it. And I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying, but I would still fight it. I would still fight it just because of the case that it's $5 million. So it's worth fighting.
But I mean,
and even if it just gets you a TV interview on some Wendy Williams, you know what I'm saying? Or something like that, you know, at least.
But it's like he said, though, do you want to spend that money? Because then you'll be out that money too. Well, if you don't win.
Some attorneys work on contingency. So he might be able to hire an attorney on a contingency basis that'll kind of only get paid if he gets paid.
Well, you work on a contingency if you personally feel that you have a case that's winnable.
Right, but she had a good point, John, because again, you know, like when you're talking about the law and what the law would probably go to, she's talking about using the media and social media to her advantage.
Absolutely.
Today, that could be the case.
That's an interesting point, because of the fact that what could probably happen in this case, and again, not knowing the specific state, but if there's enough public brouhaha, either through social networking, through just local TVs telling the story of a poor little innocent 16-year-old that blah, 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 what might happen is the state might back down, not for the $5 million, but they might try to reach some type of out of court, like, how about we give you $50,000, you just go away.
I'd settle for $3 million. Thank you. I'll take $3 million.
She's like, 50,000.
And I will let it go. I will let it go.
I like how you think.
I'll let it go. I will let it go.
If I'm one of the jurors on your case, lethal injection, baby.
No. See, that ain't gonna work.
No, I'm with you.
That ain't gonna work.
I'm with you. See,
I could see you saying that too, John.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of with you, because I would see how much I can push and make people feel sorry for me and have this little sob story going on. You just don't know what might work. You know, I mean, if the Cash Me Outside girl can get a reality show deal, we could try this. You know,
oh my God,
you just never know.
And I got a winning ticket.
Yeah,
right.
I won.
You have to realize you can't go in before the court and say, I set my son in there because I really did not know that it was only for people over a certain age. Well, the counter to that is ignorance is not a defense under the law.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, it would seem that unless you hired your own personal dream team, and I don't know who they would be, it's totally an uphill battle that would cost you You've all heard the horror stories where somebody will win a case and get $5 million, and then by the time they've paid lawyers' fees and so on and so forth, they walk away with a check for $100,000.
Well, I think I have the answer to what you were asking before about did they have proof of like that the 16-year-old did it? I bet what happened was when the guy said, I have a winning ticket, they looked it up on their security cameras and they said, wait a minute. That's not you. Who is that? Oh, that's my son. How old is your son? Because they immediately thought we don't want to pay this. But it wouldn't come out of the store. I mean, isn't it?
No, it's out of the state fund.
But the state fund I guess they just don't want. They wouldn't want to pay it.
But here's the Mexican in me, okay? All right.
Okay.
So if I was a store owner, and I'd be like, somebody just won from our store, erase all the tapes.
Because
Now.
the store gets benefits
I mean,
too, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Then
because the store gets a
something,
percentage of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are a
we
lawyer's
didn't
nightmare.
see nothing. We didn't see nothing.
But it's good to know that they exist. That's why we have lawyers, because people might do that. But you know what? I might have done the same thing.
I'm like, burn it down, I said. Burn it down.
or it burns down by accident.
Technical error.
Well, I'm sure that this guy, he's going to probably spend quite a bit of money because it's already on all over the news. I saw it on Good Morning America, which I watch every morning, and I was like, ooh, he's going to be, but it'll be interesting to see if he wins or not.
Yes.
It
Right?
will be. And
Yes.
I always hearken back to, I wonder what state it is, because if it's one of the states that most of us would consider a liberal
think it's
leaning towards
California.
state like California,
Yeah.
New
Well,
It is
York,
California.
they
During
would
our
have
break,
better chance.
I'm going to look up the.
You just looked it up. It's in California.
Oh, you just said that. Look, all right, cool.
Okay, thank you. If it was what I would consider a conservative state, such as Texas or Louisiana, I could see them fighting it to the hilt without any opportunity for out-of-court settlement.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of California, we have to cut to break in a second, but there is a new movie that just came out called Girls Trip, which is about 4 African-American women going on a girls trip, and it's doing really well. We're going to talk about, is it starting a new trend? And should there be more movies like this out there? Because it's proving that there is an audience. We're going to talk about that when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Are we on break? Are we on break?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Don't Panic. I am Israel Luna, and if you are just now joining us, I am going to have all of my guests reintroduce themselves and what they do.
I am Kirsten Dunn, and I'm a master optician. I'm the glasses lady.
Yeah.
My name is John McGuire, and I am a slave to Mr. Luna at Spayse Studios. If you're listening to this, help.
Rescue.
Well, I can't top that. I'm Angel Martinez, and I'm a bartender and an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Master actor.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Before we... somebody is calling me, and they have terrible... Oh, it's Jamie, one of our tenants. I don't know why he's calling me. So anyway...
Weird.
The problems of being a studio owner. Before we cut to break, I was bringing up this movie called Girls Trip. We were watching the trailer during the break, and it has Queen Latifah, Jada Pinkett Smith, and I forgot the other two girls' names.
Don't ask me. I can't tell you.
Okay. I shouldn't be looking at you. Just because you're black doesn't mean that you know all these things.
I'm just saying. I haven't even seen the movie yet.
I mean, if I stay out in the sun long enough, my ethnicity changes. So,
Yeah.
Right. Well, so
I think I'm always taken for white.
So this movie was shot for under 20 million, and opening weekend it made 30. So
Nice.
it has already made a nice profit. And my question to all of you is why do you think first that it's a success, and then why hasn't there been more movies dedicated to like the market of African American women, or can we say black women? Some people don't like to say black. Some people,
Say
so
black women.
yeah. So what do you think's going on with this movie? Is it about time, or?
I don't know. I'm excited to see it. I love the fact that they portrayed them as being educated.
Yes.
That was one of the first things that caught my eye on the trailer was they went to college together. So they were African American women that were educated, and they, got together for a fun time. So, I mean, I'm excited to see the movie. I haven't seen it yet, but
Okay.
I'm excited to see it. And I love the fact that they did that. That's my major hoorah. Because we educated. We are.
Right, exactly. You're the perfect example. You are a good businesswoman, Miss $3 million.
Absolutely.
Angel, what were you about to say?
no, I just think that it's probably made a lot of money for the simple fact of what she said. Like, it's showing African American in a different light. African American women, in a different light.
Absolutely.
And also, just, it's different. Every movie that comes out has some kind of storyline from some other movie, or, it's different. Everybody's tired of watching the same old remakes and this and that, and, and it also shows, I mean, I'm a minority as well. And, it shows that, yeah, we all can do something.
Right.
Absolutely.
I know you brought an interesting point up when you said that they are educated, because there are movies that come out that show them, I guess, in a more of like a quote ghetto light, or
Right.
what were you trying to
Correct.
say by that?
Yeah, I mean, just because a lot of movies oftentimes, I mean, more and more movies are coming out actually showing, like, one of my favorite movies of all time is The Best Man.
Okay.
Because it shows all these different African Americans that are professionals that come together, that have a friendship. And it portrays us in a light that's true. Because it's not just every day that African Americans are out there just living that hood life,
Right.
I don't know anything about that hood life,
Right.
but
Although I got to say, I'm a huge fan of Soul Plane. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, I can watch that over and over again. But that's kind of what you're talking about, right? I mean, sort of
Soul
like,
Plane.
I mean, it's good to have the Soul Plane, but it's good to have the Best Man kind of movies too, and the
Absolutely.
representations.
Absolutely.
Now I know, was it in the late 90s when Waiting to Exhale came out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was going to be like the trial run, like, ooh, is this going to get a market? And it did such great box office.
Right.
Reports coming back, it made a lot of money. I was wondering why that trend didn't continue. What's wrong with Hollywood? Why are they not making more, especially after that success?
Well, I didn't see the film. I probably have no plans to see the film, but that's just because I'm not a big moviegoer. And if I were
That's horrible. That's so not
my take, my take on your question is why doesn't Hollywood address more films toward a specific community? In this case, the African American community,
African American females
female
specifically.
community. I don't believe it's a black-white racial issue with Hollywood. In fact, it's just a pure economic issue.
A money
Right.
issue, yeah.
And those people that do their due diligence when they're doing planning for films, releasing films, they know who the demographics are. They know who is going to see this movie. And I think like any movie, they have to be careful that if it's a movie about one specific class or type of people, you've got to do it in a way that people that are outside that group still want to see
Wanna
it
watch
and
it.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
In
Do you-
other words, you don't want to get into a position where you're showing a film, whether it be 4 black young ladies or 4 street white kids,
And it's
where
only
they're-
them, and they're the only ones that are going to watch it.
It's
Right.
only and the movie results in a lot of insults to other groups.
Got it. And now, do you think that some of this is also because there needs to be more African American directors and writers out there that are like making
Queen
more?
Sugar,
Mhm.
like the episode. I think it's it's a series called Queen Sugar on the OWN network.
Oh.
That is directed, and the majority of this, actually, the entire staff is all women, and
Oh.
the head director and the core of the staff is African American. And I love that. You should watch it. It's called Queen Sugar.
This is on OWN?
On OWN.
Oh,
Like,
see, because
what
that does sound
network?
like an Oprah show.
Yeah,
Like, what
but
was the
see,
name of that movie with the engineer? It was a true story. Remember, she was like an engineer for NASA or something.
Oh, yes.
oh, yeah.
Hidden Figures?
Hidden Figures.
Yeah, like that. You know what I mean? It just shows, and it just shows a lot of power for women in general too.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it goes back to what you were saying. What 4 girls don't want to go out and just have a great time?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
just leave life and the kids and the husband and the
Yeah.
little kid that's
And there's a
asking,
And we
you know.
need that.
Yeah, and there's a
We need
connection
that.
between black women and gay men, where you're going to get all the gay men going to see a black woman movie. Let's just call it that.
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And like for me, for example, I know that in the late 90s when these LGBT films were coming out, I thought, oh my God, these are all crap. And I thought, wait, why am I going to complain? Why don't I just make what I would want to see?
Yeah.
So I think more African American people, if they know, hey, this movie is doing really well, Hollywood might do the same thing like they did with Waiting to Exhale, where they're not going, it's going to make a nice amount of money. There might be 1 or 2 sort of quote rip-offs, and then it just
Right.
goes away again. Keep making them, keep writing them. Maybe you
And
should
we'll
write
keep
one.
going.
Well, she can't.
I-
She can't write or direct one. She's too busy suing the state of California for $5 million.
Okay, 3 million. I will
She said
settle
three
for
million,
3
John,
million.
3 million.
And then I'll take that 3 million and duplicate it so I can come up
Yeah.
with the 20 million and create another.
Right.
There was also
Done. Plan in the sky.
Right.
There was also another very recent movie. I did not see it except for the advertisements and trailer on TV, and that was the story of an African American woman back in the '60s who was actually one of the forces behind NASA, the Space Administration. She did not get the credit for doing some of the things that she did, which led to man landing on the moon, whatever. But I didn't see that movie, as I said. But again, there's the kind of movie. It's
Are
inspirational.
you talking about the one we were just talking about? Hidden Figures? Not that one?
I don't know. Is that
Yeah.
the one with?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the one.
that's what we were
That's
talking
the one.
about.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Because with Hidden Figures, was that directed by an African American person, or do you
I
know,
have
or
no
written
idea.
by? I'm sure it was written.
That
Because
I'm
it's
not
based
sure.
on them, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
You
I
know-
have no idea. But you know what though? I will say this. I'm excited that it's like these films that are coming out is almost like giving African American women permission to just be great in the open. Because oftentimes I really believe that we've been suppressed to the point that we haven't been allowed to be great, or our greatness has not been recognized. But now that all these films are coming out, and it's like we're able to just have permission to be great, and it's you know what I'm saying, and it's
Yeah.
okay.
Here's-
So I'm loving it.
Here's
I'm
an
just loving it.
Here's an interesting question from an outsider's point of view. Do all these films that are currently being released and being made that showcase all the talents and all the drive and everything an African American women can do they tend to intimidate African American men?
I think they don't. And
you know, being a bartender, I hear different. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you're finna say they
So-
probably tell you the truth. The liquor starts. So let's hear it.
So they're intimidated.
Well, yeah, a lot of times, yeah. A lot of times, yeah. And sorry if this offends anybody, but it is what it is because it's what was said. So that's why they go for the little white girl. You know, the little just insecure. That's what they look for. They do because it makes them feel manlier. You know, I'm a man of man, and
Right.
You
This
know,
person
and,
needs me to take care of them.
right, and so that could actually go for any race, anybody. You can have a Mexican woman, a white woman, you know, African
Is that
American.
why Oprah never married?
I mean, I don't. Maybe.
She's
Oprah
married to
ain't
Gail,
making
isn't
her-
she?
her money.
Maybe. I mean, you
Protect
tell
her
me.
body.
You
Prenup
tell.
wasn't strong enough for Oprah.
I mean, when it comes to like the machoism and stuff, you tell me what man out there is gonna love for his woman to be able to make more than him, do more than him, accomplish more than him. You know what I mean? It's like there's not very many men that I know.
Right, but
know?
I know that they are out there. They may be few and far between, but I do know that there are submissive men out there who want a take charge woman.
We're not talking about sex, right?
That too.
Right? Wah, wah. But in the end, I really do hope that this starts the trend yet again. I hope that they make more movies like this and start, representing the other sides of every community. This isn't just like for the black community or anything, because I feel the same way being Latino. It's like, yeah, from the audio and everything, but you can have some of them that are, where they are very successful and have them in positions that are not a maid or, a valet or a butler or something like that, which there's nothing wrong with that, but that's already been represented. Now let's do other stuff. So that might be what I write next. But we have to take another break. And when we come back, we're going to kind of change the tone a little bit and get a little serious and talk about this recent ban that has happened against transgender people joining the military. So don't go anywhere. It's about to get good.
You know the funny.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Don't Panic. Before we cut to break, we were just talking about fun stuff, lighthearted stuff, weren't we? I'm trying to think of what we were talking about.
movie.
Yeah, the movie. And so now we're just going to kind of change the tone a little bit. There has been a recent ban from the Trump administration, or from Trump, actually, I should say, that is banning all transgender individuals, right, from being, well, they say from joining the military, but which already brings up a lot of questions, because I think there's already, at the moment, 2,500 active members already in there and 1,500 on reserve. So I don't even know what's going to happen. But before I start asking all these questions, Angel, I know that I have your permission to out you on the show. You are
definitely.
Transgender.
Oh, yes.
Female to male. So when you heard about this, because it just recently happened, what was your initial take?
I'm not really sure what I'm allowed to say on the show.
Say whatever you
It was fucking bullshit. Because first of all, John and I were talking about this beforehand. I don't care what you do, what you like, where you like it. I don't care. It all boils down to is, can you do your job? Are you going to have my back when it matters? And that's what me and him were talking about. Like, if me and him were out, we hated each other, you know, he's the biggest flaming gay guy and I'm the most conservative straight guy. When we're out on the field, if it comes down to we got to work together,
Right.
if we want to live, we're going to do that. So I think that people who have never actually been through the military, the camaraderie, the bonding, everything that you have to go through to become a successful military, they shouldn't be making the calls.
Exactly.
Right.
They should not.
For their viewers right now, I mean, they can look at you. I mean, you could do the job. You could be
Yes.
out there. And I want all of our viewers to know what Trump is saying is Angel would not be able to serve just because you're transgender. But look at you. I mean, it's like you can fire a gun. You can kick some ass.
I mean, I
You know?
can when I need to.
Yeah, when you need to.
And it's just, I mean, it's absurd.
It is.
It's absurd.
It is.
You know, you don't, I mean, he's talking medical costs. They spend more to keep you having a hard on than they would just for me to have regular medical costs.
The medical cost for the transgender community that is in the military right now is less than 1/10 of 1%.
Right.
I don't think it has anything to do with military health care costs. It's purely an issue of someone has decided that there's just a class of people we don't want in the service.
Well, this
Now-
might have something to do with it, John, going along with that. This decision reverses Obama's decision that he made last year. So do you think, because he has this thing
That's
about
it.
anything that
That's
Obama
the
passed, he
truth.
wants to reverse?
Absolutely.
I
That's
don't.
what it is.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I don't really consider this a political issue, although politicians are the ones that make the final determination. I think it's more of a human rights issue. And first of all, you know me very well, Israel. I am not a fan of politicians. I don't care who they are. To give Obama credit for his stating that transgenders could serve in the military, that was in 2016 at the very end of his administration. The preceding 7 years, he could care less. So it's not a political issue. It's just, to me, it's an issue of ignorance. And one of the reasons that I agreed to talk about this with you today on here is the fact that I have personal opinions on this because I'm a proud Army veteran. I served 2 years with the U.S. Army. And again, Angel and I had talked about this out front. 18 months of my service was in the Panama Canal Zone. I was a weatherman. But anyway, my take on this, I was a young man. I was right out of college. And I was surrounded by young people, approximately my age group. And we were from all over the country. We were white males, we were black males, we were Hispanic males, there were white females attached to our unit, there were black females attached to our unit. Because of the fact we were living and working in a foreign country, we felt like strangers in a strange land, we bonded. We became friends. We did everything together. You sleep together, you eat together, you work together, you socialize, you go downtown together, you do everything together. And so-and-so is not, we're Americans.
Right.
It sounds corny, but you ask anyone who's been in the service and stationed overseas, they get that bonding because of the fact that, and I don't understand.
Well, hold on. And Kirsten, you were already saying that you think it's the Obama thing, like the reversal of just because Obama did it.
I think that's a portion of it. I agree with him that it is a lot to do with ignorance.
Yeah.
Anytime hate is involved, ignorance is guaranteed the partner.
Well,
if hate is involved,
yeah.
ignorance is the partner, in my opinion.
Yeah, and
But I definitely think that he definitely wants to go and try to undo as much as he can just to prove that.
Oh, I'm sure that's part of it too. But I think there's even a bigger part.
It's very
And-
egotistical.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you, John, where it's I don't know if I feel completely that it's a human rights thing. I think that our community is easy to pick on, and when he needs a distraction because he's doing such a terrible job at being the president, he needs a distraction, so he's going to pick on, you know, in this case, the transgender community, and now everyone's talking about that, so it's taking attention away from other stuff. That's
And you
kind
still
of what
got the
I'm
thing
thinking.
That's happening with the bathrooms. And all
Yeah,
that.
because
So
I
it's
really
just
don't think it's that he hates the LGBT community. I think it is beneficial to him as the president to get a distraction.
I would love for somebody to try to take me out of a fucking bathroom. I would love that. And if you want to make me go to the women's room, I am going to hit on every single one of you. All of you. When I have to shave, I'm going to do it in there.
I'll take photos and then we can
Oh
post
my
them everywhere
God.
going, hey, this is what you want. This is what you want.
You've seen my photo, right? The one that I put on Facebook about this is my standing in the women's line pose.
Oh, no.
I have got to show it to you.
Okay. We'll show it to- yeah, John, go ahead.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention about what I specifically do not like about this quote unquote decision is this is a decision made by somebody who never served in the military. He does not know what it's like for people to bond together. My main concern when I was stationed in Panama was that those people that were working directly with me, do your job, support me, we're a team, we get things done faster, we get things done better, we have time to enjoy ourselves, we work together. I don't care if you have a dick or not.
Right. I have a question, John. Excuse me. With this passing, this isn't necessarily a law, or what is it right now? Like a
No.
policy, a bill? What is it?
No, right now
How
it's
did it
just,
pass?
It's a tweet.
right now I believe it's just something that he's throwing out there. And Angel and I were talking out front. We don't believe, at least for some of the blogs that I've seen, I don't think he has the support right now of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They're sitting back waiting to see what's going to happen.
So then right now, nothing can
Nothing
legally
officially,
be done.
no, nothing
it's just him
officially
saying
done.
it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
Well, that's good.
The last thing I'd like to point out on this, and this bothers me too, is the fact that when Trump was running for presidency, one of his biggest campaign slogans or opinions was the fact that elect me, I am not an average politician. I will get the job done. I am a businessman.
And he
then
also had I think we have a picture, Shannon, where we have Trump holding the LGBT
Yeah.
flag that said LGBT for Trump. So
Yeah.
he was sort of like, in a way, this was during his campaign, trying to get us to vote for him, and it worked because now there are groups called
But you do
Gays
realize
for Trump.
he's went back on everything that
Yeah.
he promised to his supporters. He's went back on everything.
Whoa,
that
did you
he's
not see
promised
that?
his
Who was it
supporters.
with Barbara Walters or something where he was interviewing? He said, if I ever run for president, I'm going to lie to all the Republicans because they'll believe me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he was
he's
right.
doing it.
Was it Barbara Walters? Or
I think so. I
Yeah.
think so. He was saying
What the reason I was bringing that up, politician versus businessman, is as a businessman, he should know that when you come across something like that, and this happens every day in the corporate world, when you're trying to institute either a new program or a new policy, you sit down with people, talk with people, especially people that are experts in that field. Now, I'm sure the transgendered community has physicians, psychologists out there. If he's confused or he doesn't know which way things should go, whatever, open your door. Talk to people. Talk to people that have statistics, that have numbers, that
Well,
have
this is
facts.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because during the break you were asking Angel, you were talking about how you might write all of this down maybe in a book or anything, and John said, about all these other books existing. And when I was editing a documentary called What's the Tea that focused on 5 transgender females, they were talking about over dinner how there is a lack of information because even a lot of doctors really don't know. So it's like being created. Have you found that it's easy to find books on transgender anything?
No, that's what I was saying. Like, I've gone to the bookstore, I've gone to the library and stuff, and every book that I seem to find is almost like a memoir, just what they went through and don't get me wrong, I respect that because it shows other people that, they're not alone. But at the same time, there's no education behind it. Okay, so you went through that. So I have questions. How do you, there's a lot of questions that aren't answered. And this is like what I was telling you, and I was telling, the girl that I'm dating, I was telling her, it's so funny because before where I was like this angry butch lesbian and nobody listened to me and, oh, whatever, and now coming into being a respected man where before I wasn't heard, I wasn't listened to, nothing I said mattered. The money I made, okay, I make more money now. What I say matters. When I talk, you will listen. And I mean, it's just so interesting. Like
seeing that dynamic.
Well, you also what a lot of people don't understand is what it does to you up here. Dude, it's so hard to deal with. There's a reason why they say it's mandated that you go to therapy during hormones.
Well, you know what? Well, let's talk about that when we come back because we have to take another break. And I want to start going into the psychology of this and also talk to you, Kirsten, about this and how it makes you feel because, you're talking to someone who, was a female and has transitioned to male. So I think this is going to be really interesting. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Don't Panic. If you are just now joining us, you have missed a really good show so far, but it's not over yet. I'm going to have all of my guests introduce themselves again and what they do.
I am Kirsten Dunn, and I am a master optician.
Yes.
My name is John McGuire, and I am the Chief Financial Officer for Spayse Studios.
I'm Angel Martinez, and I am a bartender and an actor and a transistor.
Exactly. Before we cut to break, you were talking about the psychological things that you're realizing and noticing, because you went from people seeing you as female to now male, and now all those changes. I just thought that was kind of fascinating and kind of jealous, because you're getting a different perspective in your entire life, and all I have for my whole life is my one perspective. So I'm kind of jealous.
No, you're pretty wide on your spectrum of perspective.
Excuse me.
I mean, knowing you,
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean. Knowing you,
Yeah.
you know, I wouldn't take that away from you.
So now, do you find it insulting now that you're getting much more respect that you had wanted before? How does...
Yeah, I had this conversation with this one guy. Well, I wouldn't say a conversation. I kind of told him off. But he was sitting at my bar or whatever, right? And so, obviously, straight couple, you know. And the lady goes to order a drink, and he tells her, be quiet. And I'm like, okay. I said, okay, what do y'all want to drink? He was like, you know how women are, right? They never shut up. And I said, yeah, I do. I do.
I
he
didn't
goes,
quite
"Man."
actually understand.
And he
that.
was like, man, he was like, goddamn women. I was like, hey, do me a favor. I go, what were you going to order? He was like, well, I want a Coors Light. And I was like, okay.
Of course.
And she wants like some vodka shit. And I was like, some vodka shit. I said, honey, what do you want? And she looks at him. I was like, look at me. She goes, vodka tonic. I said, okay. So I gave her vodka tonic. And I looked at him and I was like, by the way, your beer is $5. He was like, well, how much is hers? I was like, I bought it because that's what real men do.
Ooh.
And he was like, oh, are you fucking insulting me? What, you're on the chick's side? And I was like, bitch, let me tell you something.
For your information.
And he was all like, no, he was like, I knew we shouldn't have come in here. He was like, you're probably one of those gay guys. I was like, no, I'm pretty straight. I like what you like. And then
you are gonna so confuse him.
yeah, and he was like, yeah, he was like, man, he was like, I'm afraid to go to the bathroom. And I was like, why? He was like, because, you know, I don't want anybody hitting on me. I was like, you ain't got to worry about that. Nobody's going to do that to you.
Nobody's getting
What in the name of God was he doing in JR's to begin with?
No
Who
telling.
knows?
No telling.
We get all kinds of characters. Well, then it ended up being when he was all like, man, he was like, don't get your dick all up in the twist. And I was like, well, actually, it might be. I should go check on it. It's in my car.
Right,
and he
right.
goes, what? I said,
Is that big and long?
and he looked at me and he kind of looked confused. And I said, I'm transgender. My dick is in my car, and if it's not big enough or bigger than yours, I can get the other one that's in the trunk of my car. And if that's not it, there's a couple more in my bathroom. You can suck on all 5 of them. Get out of my bar.
Nice. And his jaw dropped, and he probably had no idea
He was
what
like,
to say.
the fuck? And I was like, yeah. I said, you're such a waste of testosterone, man.
God. Now, see, could you have done this still being, quote, in your own words, the butch lesbian?
I did it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know me. But,
Right.
No, at that point, then I've had, you know, not similar conversations, but similar confrontations.
Yeah.
And, you know, as a lesbian, they were like, oh, you know, fucking this. Now it's more like the, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I told you about that girl that was hitting on me, and then I had to tell her, you know, I'm trans.
Right.
I could never tell. Like,
Right.
oh my God, you don't look trans. What does trans look like to you?
Right, exactly. Well, it looks like what Hollywood represents them as.
Exactly.
Is what it is.
Jenner.
That's
Yeah.
another thing that I don't like. Speaking of all the movies and stuff, you know how
As a
transgenders
manly woman.
are like perceived, or how they're put out, because they're not. No.
Well, why do you
You
think
know?
I got such a big reaction and a big controversy when my movie Ticked Off Trannies with Knives came out? Because I represented them as beautiful. They were proud of who they were, and they kicked ass. And they were like, oh, no, that's not a good representation. I thought, oh, so they should be on CSI and they get killed in the first 5 minutes of the show because they're weak and people pick on them and throw things at them.
Right.
That's how you want. No, my girls are going to kick ass and look hot doing it. So that was kind of where I came from with that. And I'm still continuing that trend with the zombie film coming out. And I have a zombie question for you in a second. But before, hearing Angel talking about this, you as a successful businesswoman, do you get this, like the lack of respect from people in general?
I
or?
think this is my first time ever hearing this side of it, honestly, because I just never have this conversation. I never, you know what I'm saying? I'm never in a position to have this conversation or to hear it coming from a real person with a real heartbeat. It's just what we get from, like you said, from media. It's what we get from the CSI movies where they do die in the first 5 minutes. It's and they're crying in the bathroom, you know, that kind of thing. So this is my first time actually hearing about it with you know, and actually putting a face to going through the transition and all that kind of thing. I've never had that conversation. And sometimes
we are educating on my show.
And that's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss, honestly.
Yeah.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss. But I mean, it for me, and I say this, and I said this a few minutes ago, anytime hate is applied, it's immediately, it's coupled with ignorance. So the feelings that I felt when I heard about the bathroom thing, I know this is separate from the bathroom bill, but I'm thinking to myself, I have boys or I have nieces, and I don't want them going into a bathroom and somebody that hasn't had the surgery yet standing next to them, you know, that kind of thing.
Can I interject?
Absolutely.
With that said, thank you for saying that so that now I can educate you further.
Absolutely.
Okay. So when we're done with this show, will you do me a favor? I want you to go home and look up statistics of actual transgenders that have done anything to anybody in a bathroom.
Absolutely.
And there are none.
There are none.
When I go to the bathroom, I'm sorry, okay? So when I go to the bathroom, there's nothing pretty about a fucking penis that I want to look at.
Right.
Sorry. I'm not there peeking over. There's nothing about a little boy. There's not. That is so.
You're there to pee.
Right.
Yes, I
Or
just want to
poop.
pee. Or whatever. Yes, that's all I want to do.
And I have a client that is, I talked to her actually last night, and she was talking. She's big in politics and everything. And that's exact same thing she said. She said that it's more statistics showing of anything happening to children in restrooms being from the same sex.
Or straight men.
Correct.
Yeah.
That has done to them and that they've
people
been
they know.
violated or things, or it's
Exactly.
it's more likely to happen from people that they know.
The
Absolutely.
dangerous thing that I think about this that will happen is you'll have straight guys dressing as women, predators,
Correct.
to go in and then blame it on my community.
Correct.
You know, and
And the fact is, I mean, that rarely happens because it's going to be an uncle that has a trusting brother or sister, and he's molesting like the kids and stuff because it's somebody who's known. Oh my gosh, guys, we can have like an entire show of this subject, and this is beeping at me because we have to cut to our last break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, and then we're gonna close out the show.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep. I'm very.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We have 2 minutes to close out the show, so I'm going to shut up for a second, and I'm going to pass it on to my guests so you can promote yourself, your services, whatever you do. Go for it.
Absolutely. Well, again, my name is Kirsten Dunn, and I'm the master optician at Salt Optical. And at Salt Optical, we're a little different, and mainly because we have a mobile service. So if you don't want to come into the optical store, you can just go to our website, book your appointment, and we come to you.
Ooh, what's the website?
And the website is at www.saltoptical.vision. But there's another major important part. Don't forget this. We're also a social enterprise. So every time we sell a pair of glasses, we give a pair of glasses to a kid or even an elderly person in need. So definitely check out our website. We're in the business to give.
Nice.
That is very nice, yes.
Mr. McGuire?
Yes. How could I follow up on that? Because I don't give anybody anything.
That's why
I will say, though, after today's show, I have decided to quit everything I've been doing so I can be with her when she wins her $5 million.
Absolutely.
Because she is not going to give up until that money is in her pocket.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Angel?
And the more I get, the more I will give.
All right. Well, there's not really much to say about me. I'm an open transgender athlete who competes and works out at Jerome's gym. And I'm constantly plugging him because he does not care who you are, what you're about, whatever. He just likes making people win and giving you muscle. And, you know, you're more than welcome to come out. We're in Richardson at 2100 North Greenville Avenue. And you can look us up on Instagram, Jerome's Gym. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. I just love lifting heavy shit.
Awesome. And I'm Israel Luna. We are here at Don't Panic with Israel Luna every Friday at 3 o'clock. We are here at Spayse Studios, shooting in Space Station. Spayse Studios is at 1499 Regal Row, Suite 505. If you would like your own show, like somebody here next to me to my left is about to have, just email us at spaysestudios@gmail.com, SPAYSE, and send us an email and let us know what you'd like your show to be about, and we will get you started. I want to say thank you to my guests for coming to the show.
Absolutely.
This was so much fun, and I'm sure I'll have you back. And everybody, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a great weekend.
Don't panic.
Bye. Don't panic.